Routes is no ordinary tour operator, but according to Time magazine, it gives an opportunity for visitors to climb into a minivan and embark on a cultural treasure hunt across the Cape Flats. This tour operator takes visitors to the intimate living rooms and backyards of artists and musicians, as well as local heroes, who are then the main attractions rather than iconic landscapes, wine farms and beaches. Ian Harris, a social entrepreneur and founder of Coffeebeans Routes, believes that the way to economically grow our country and to keep ahead of the pack in business is to create a platform where locals can realize their own potential.
We provide the opportunity for the visitor to engage with us, with the people who live here, who work here, who play here, and who make our lives here. And visitors, when they travel, they want to have a human engagement. They want to meet the people that make up the place that they're visiting. And it's pretty much not possible, certainly in South Africa and definitely in Africa, because tourism focuses out of the cities and away from people. So that's the niche that we identified as being viable. And we wanted to be that urban Africa is hip, it's contemporary, and we want the world to see it like that, because that is already how it is. Cape Town is very hip and contemporary. There's nothing cultural village about this place.
The tour company has a range of products that are distinctive and move beyond your average township tour. The soccer tour was a natural inclusion of the philosophy of this tour operator.
I want people to discover what makes the city tick, beyond the mountain, beyond this fantastic stadium, and it is great. But a stadium doesn't have a story. A stadium cannot tell its own story. It needs people to tell the story. And that's where going between the lines of the stadium, for example, is, like the soccer route. The soccer route goes very much in between the lines, because we're going to start with this incredibly iconic piece of architecture. But the narrative of the stadium is really interesting around why is it over there as opposed to anywhere else? What's it going to be after the actual World Cup is gone? There's a lot of narrative and story there that the stadium alone doesn't tell you. To be able to move from there to visit the ambitious youth of Khayelitsha, in Khayelitsha, on an artificial pitch between a shack and between a school, that's really in between the lines. That's the narrative that you wouldn't get if you just stood over there. So to be able to move from there to there, and in fact for people to find that experience, having a game of soccer with the ambitious youth of Khayelitsha, far more interesting than actually seeing the stadium, that for me is going between the lines. Those are the stories. And South Africa has always had an economy of silence. So it's really interesting to be able to now start exposing those stories that have always happened between the lines but have never had an outlet.
Those who go on this tour will understand the culture and history of soccer in Cape Town. The tour begins with an aerial view of the Greenpoint Stadium as well as a visit to its premises. It then takes the tourists to one of Cape Town's top local clubs, Ajax, where the community development projects are a key focus. They then get to meet a group of youth in Khayelitsha and play a soccer match with them.
I really enjoyed not necessarily talking to them, but just listening to them, get the fierce debates of whether Benny McCarthy should be picked in the South African side, how good the current coach is compared to the former coach. They were really passionate about it. They really meant everything they were saying. It wasn't a show that was put on for tourists. You were genuinely invited in, be a part of us for half an hour or so, come and kick the ball around with us, we want to play with you. That's so different from the big coach tour where you go, almost the human zoo township tours which you can get, that you basically go around in a bus, take pictures of some shacks and then go away to your nice hotel again.
For Harris, the recession, high airfares and overpriced accommodation has affected the tourism business. Coffeebeans Routes is geared towards life after 2010 because of the uniqueness of the tours that it provides.
A soccer tour is great because it's, I think as South Africans we probably don't even know the history of our own soccer. And I think for the foreigners it's the same. I think if they've heard of Bafana and Kaizer Chiefs, maybe that's it. So I think it's a lovely opportunity for them to kind of learn a bit more about our country, how, where soccer comes from, what it means to people and how it's played, in the present.